Hello viewers, welcome to our program on immigration and you. I am your immigration attorney Michael Fulwani, and once again we have with us my law partner David Nachman. David, welcome.
Thanks so much, Michael. Nice to be back after a couple of weeks.
Well, you have been traveling
vacation.
a lot, David, and our viewers missed you. They say, where is David? So here's David back from the trip.
Back from the Midwest.
Okay.
Back from the Midwest.
So let's start today's program with cutoff dates for the month of October 2014. Remember, we get this bulletin before the starting of the next month. So this is the latest information that you have on cutoff dates. The family first preference, which are the unmarried sons and daughters of U.S. citizens, advances by 3 weeks to May 22nd, 2007. Family 2A category, which is for the spouses, that means husbands and wives and children unmarried under the age of 21 of green card holders, advances by 4 weeks to February 1, 2013. The family 2B category, which is for the unmarried sons and daughters over the age of 21 of green card holders, advances by 8 weeks to November 1, 2007. The family third preference, which are the married sons and daughters of U.S. citizens, advances by 2 weeks to December 1, 2003. And the family fourth preference, brothers and sisters of U.S. citizens, advance by 3 weeks to January 22nd, 2002. The employment preference categories, the first preference, priority workers, is current for all the countries. The employment second preference, which are the advanced degree holders, which is current for most of the countries except India. India advanced degree holders, second preference, did not move. Date remains the same, which is November 15. I'm sorry, it did not move. May 1, 2009.
Yep.
That's a bad news because we were expecting the little bit movement should continue every month, but it's stuck there. And then we have even a worse news about this.
Right, even worse news, which I'll...
to finish this?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't want to too much rush into the bad news right now.
No, of course. Yeah, well, it's bad news, but not terrible news because really this takes effect October 1st.
Correct.
So it's bad news between now and October 1st. Right,
okay.
Exactly.
The employment third preference, which are the professionals and skilled workers, pretty good movement for most of the countries, 24 weeks to October 1, 2011. India, it only moves up by 1 week to November 15, 2003. The EW other workers category is also the same thing. It advances 24 weeks for most of the countries except India to October 1, 2011. And India only 1 week advanced to November 15, 2003. The employment fourth preference, which are the special immigrants, which consists of priests, religious workers, and all that, are current for all the countries. And the investors of $500,000 or $1 million employment fifth preference is current for all the countries. But I think recently, for the China, there's a cutoff date now.
Right, and that's really important for our viewers to know that just because there's a cutoff in the EB-5 for China, that does not affect other countries such as India. So while the media has done a fairly decent job of reporting that it's just as to China, no one should get confused. So India is still open.
I'm saying
right?
Also, that's also an indication that there are more and more interest in EB-5s, numbers increasing like anything
Absolutely.
like China.
Right.
And I would not be surprised that in the coming months there may be a cutoff date established for India or some other countries.
Right, and that's exactly what the school of thought seems to be in that area, is that there may be a cutoff date announced early next year, being like, let's say, June, July, August, for a cutoff date, certainly for the Chinese, but possibly for other countries.
Yeah, one more comment I want to make on the family preference, an interesting way to look at it. When a green card holder used to file a petition for unmarried son or daughter over the age of 21, the family 2B category, we wanted to have the petitioner, the father or the mother who filed the petition, to become a U.S. citizen, so the category can get to F1, which was much, much better than the 2B.
Right.
But look at this. Look at this. Family 2B category in this month has November 1, 2007. And the first preference is May 22, 2007. So, the F2B is better than F1.
Right.
Now, that is something that people may not want to do that. I mean, there was, in the Philippines, for example, there were some similar issues that the one category was better than the other. And therefore, there was an option left to the person whether he wants to change or not change. But I think if a green card holder becomes a citizen, that petition automatically will be changed to F1. If it's a 2B filed,
right,
and he becomes a citizen,
correct,
then goes to F1.
Exactly.
So this is a dilemma. Shall I become a citizen? I mean, client is going to ask us a question.
Exactly.
That I have a 2B petition filed, but if one is becoming better and better and better, so if I become a citizen, is that better or I should not become a citizen? Right. So that's something.
Right, but of course you balance that against the excellent advice of telling people how good it is to become a U.S. citizen because of all the other additional benefits.
Not only that. See, one good advantage is if one is this. Let us say a son or daughter doesn't want to remain unmarried. He wants to marry. So if in F2B he gets married, the petition is cancelled automatically.
Right.
If F1, and only a category will change. Petition will continue.
Right.
Because there's a category, the third preference is for the married sons and daughters of U.S. citizens, so it can go. So these are some of the issues, as you said, sit with a lawyer and then try to figure out your particular situation, what are the plan of the marriages of the children, and so many other issues.
Exactly. And so I think that the rule there is that there's no one cookie-cutter way to handle it.
Exactly.
In order to do a proper analysis, you should sit with a qualified immigration law professional who will walk you through the various options with the pluses and the minuses on each side of the page, and then you make the decision based upon that.
Yeah. So here is something that I want to...
Let's talk about the bad news, which unfortunately I'm sorry that I have to be the harbinger of bad news, but as of yesterday, an announcement was made by the U.S. Department of State that there is an unavailability this year of EB2 cases for India, which means that what essentially has happened is that all of the visas have been used up for the whole year. Now, obviously, the fact that that's happened on September 10th, which is the time we're filming this program, we can bring this to your attention because it's really sort of, it's not a big deal because between now and October 1st, when this new priority date kicks in on October 1st, the November 9th date that you mentioned before, it's not a big deal. However, what's interesting is let's look into an analysis into the future. What does this mean?
Matter of concern.
Exactly. What does this mean for the future? So what does it mean for the future,
It could be
Michael?
two things could happen. Three things could happen, which I doubt very much is going to advance speedily because we can see that the demand is much more than what the availability is. So two things that can happen, three things as I said. One is advancing further,
right,
which is less likely. The other thing is they may open up at the same date of 2009 as it is now,
okay,
or even if it can retrogress back.
That's right.
So we will see. It's another month's time. We'll find out.
Exactly. And I think that one of the important points to bring out at this juncture is that we've talked about comprehensive immigration reform and immigration reform initiatives in the past on this program. And I think that one of those initiatives, of course, has to do with the fact that derivatives are counted toward this cap, and that's one of the reasons. If you look at how the law currently hurts the United States, because here we have highly skilled workers in the EB2 classification, Indian nationals who are coming to the United States and developing jobs for U.S. workers because they're highly skilled, and their dependents, of course, are coming, but the dependents are absorbing a lot of those visas in the EB2 classification, which should be separated. And I believe in 1996 there was actually a provision of the law which did separate them. And the problem is it was just never enforced. So now they're still taking out of that pool.
It was a proposal, actually, I think.
It was actually Section 203D, where it was actually in 1990.
So did they change it?
The law was changed in 1990 under 203D, and the thing is that they just never did it. So it actually comes into one of these issues, which feeds right into what I know, Michael, you and I want to discuss, is administrative, administrative initiatives by the president. But this is one clear administrative initiative where the president can send everyone back to the drawing board and say, hey, look, in 1990 we changed the rules, and we did in fact separate the derivatives from the main pool
so obviously
of the
from what
EB2.
you are saying,
so why didn't we do it?
Yeah, obviously this is one of the administrative
Fixes, right,
that can be done by the president.
Exactly.
Of course,
and the idea,
but you know the Republicans. Anything you do today, they are going to court and challenge again and again and
absolutely,
again.
Absolutely.
So, to this note, let's talk about this issue here. And I want the public to make a decision. President Obama had made several promises. I'll do this before a campaign promise. Later on, I will administer the process. And DACA was one good step that he took, or the advance parole about some of the cases that the 212(6)(c) waiver, that was another one. But since then, nothing has happened, and he has been keeping on assuring, promising, I'll do now, I'll do before summer. And each time he makes a promise, he has broken the promises. Right. The other side of that is that the people are really frustrated. And I think question is it good or not good for President Obama to wait for the midterm? I'll give some information now why I'm talking about midterm elections. Let the public decide. And I got a few notes that are from the latest New York Times and an editorial, which basically, I'll read you in 1 minute. In June 2014, he said, America cannot wait forever. And he was frustrated with Congress, and he will soon act on his own administrative process, and promised to fix the problem on his own. And the presumption, what at that time, no, he didn't say those words, that it will suspend, maybe under that he could suspend deportation for millions of undocumented aliens, gave a good feeling, and good, Obama is doing great. We also said on this TV program. Now, the things have changed. Now, he says, we have to wait until midterm election, which is upon us. And this issue is politically too hot. It may jeopardize democratic control of the Senate. I mean, that's what
that's the main concern right now.
Yeah, and the immigrants and their families have been disappointed for years, battling for the immigration reform. Now, in June, this June, summer, he said he'll do before summer. How many times he said summer, before summer? By end of, in June, Obama said he will get around the making good on his promise, etc. Now, it is said that the Democratic Party has pressured him to wait until after mid-elections, but pressure that he has accepted the pressure. Up to him, he's the President of the United States.
Right.
And it could doom, according to some Democrats who are running the election, they are thinking it could doom the chances of the party to win the elections.
Right.
Now, immigration advocates, you and me and some other advocates, accuse the president of playing politics with the lives of immigrant families from the threat of deportation.
Right. Michael, I see we're running short on time, and what I'd like to do is point out, of course, that this is a political football, and it's likely to go on well into November, and of course, it's really anyone's guess. I'd like to suggest that we come back and discuss a little bit of administrative processing and what some of the initiatives are. But before I do that, I also want to just announce to our loyal viewers that the TNEC International Film Festival, of which the NPZ Law Group continues to be a sponsor for many, many years, will be showing a famous Desi film called Ram Leela, and that will be in November. For anyone who's interested in joining us for that, I'm given to understand that tickets are available from the TNEC International Film Festival online, and you can get there by emailing or signing on to the website or sending an email to tiff@tnecfilmfestival.org, and that will be in early November. So more information will be forthcoming on that.
And since last year, we have started encouraging them to run some Bollywood movies, and this year, The movie, the most favorite of the day, is Ram Leela.
Ram Leela.
And
right.
I know all our viewers know. And Ram Leela is going to be excluded in the proper cinema theater there in Teaneck. And I believe the tickets are probably, if you buy in advance, it's actually, if you want to, for the whole 3-day event. 3 days of movies, a lot of
buy
programs
a
are there,
package, or you can buy
$35.
Right.
But if they just want to see a movie, it's only $6 in advance, or $8 at the gate. And there's no theater that even you can go and see that kind of movie anywhere. But in addition to that, it's a lot of fun. And many of the movies, the people, the directors or some actor or somebody who was associated with that event is come and speak about that, as about how it was made, or some comments about that. So it's an interesting thing, very interesting program, 2-3 days. I always, all the 3 days I go every year, November, I enjoy really.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
okay.
So we'll wrap up now. And
the last word we want to talk about administrative processing is now it is very, very clear now. They're very clear that Obama is not going to announce any administrative processing until the elections.
After the midterm
which
elections.
is November, right?
Yeah.
In the November elections, what he thinks, it may not happen, that after the elections, maybe some Republicans may come forward and join in the passage of the comprehensive immigration reform, or at least some other changes in the immigration laws. I personally, and you personally, doubt that they will come back after. But he is determined right now, as he says. If they don't do anything, he's going to immediately go ahead and whatever he can do under administrative processing or administrative memos that he will do. So, so we should expect something to happen really after midterm elections.
We hope.
Hope.
Right.
Okay. You want to go over some questions? I got a few questions from.
I think that we need to. I think we need to wrap up for this show, and then
okay.
Yeah. So and then we can come back and take some questions.
Well, thank you very much, David, for being on the program.
Thank you so much,
all
Michael.
of you, and please forgive me if I get excited whenever we talk about CIR. But we'll continue. We have a number of questions from our viewers that we'll give answers in the forthcoming programs.
You're certainly passionate about the subject.
Yes, I know. So please keep watching us every Saturday and Sunday only on ITV. Thank you very much, and goodbye.